out. And this happened during the Physical Education and Sports Policy launch at KICD, where the CS actually mentioned that this policy will recognize the zeal in which the government holds sports in the country and values the achievement realized in the field over the years. But of course, it has been a tough challenge in terms of physical education, especially in schools. If I can recall my time back in high school, if my math lesson came before a physical education lesson, you know it will be a double math lesson. So there's so much impetus given towards physical education right now, and we'll try and delve deeper to see what benefits it actually brings to these young minds when sports is inculcated, when talent is nurtured at the youngest level, so that they can grow up and actually achieve some of the greatest heights, achievements in the sports world. Joining me in studio are some of notable faces in the sports industry. In studio right now, I'm joined by Coach Collins. He'll tell us a little bit more about what he does. Mtani anaitwa Coach Kolo, I understand. Thank you so much for your time right here on Morning Express. Also in studio, I'm joined by Silas Otieno, who is the health club manager at Hill Park Hotel. And I'm also joined via way of Zoom by another coach, this time round a lady, Jackie. Thank you so much for your time. Good morning, ladies, lady and gents. Thank you so much for making time. Let's begin with a little bit of what you do in the sports world. Coach Kolo, good morning.
Good morning.
What role do you play?
Yeah, first, thanks for having me here. I'm the managing director of Cheza Sports Academy, which is a football club for kids between 4 and 23 years. I do run the football curriculum there and the training and what it takes to be a football pro.
Okay, that's quite an age, 4 to 23 years. That's the age group you're dealing with, yeah?
Indeed.
Okay, we'll get to talk more about that. Silas, good morning.
Good morning.
I know we've met somewhere else. Perhaps just a brief introduction about what you do.
Yes, I'm Silas Otieno. I'm the health club manager at Hill Park Hotel. I run a program called Zoezi Mtaani and Zoezi Shuleni. It both deals with the elderly and the youth.
Okay.
Yes.
We'll get to know what Zoezi Mtaani, and you said it's
Zoezi Shuleni.
Zoezi Shuleni as well actually encompasses. Thank you for your time. As I mentioned, Jackie, good morning. I know you're joining us by way of Zoom. I hope you can hear me. Tell me of the role you play in the sports fraternity.
Yes, good morning. My name is Jacqueline Juma. I'm a coach at Akakoro Football Academy and also an administrator. Former assistant coach around the Starlets, and yeah, that's me.
Okay, thank you for your time. So let's start. I mean, the latest move by the Ministry of Education to sort of inculcate physical education in the curriculum. I don't know, let's start from this point, Kolo. Why is it important to invest in sports, especially at the onset? You mentioned you work with an age group of between 4 to 23 years of age.
Yeah, indeed, sports is an education. Unlike as you had said about your earlier childhood in school, it's something that we haven't embraced, having sports as an education. I speak for football per se. Football has a curriculum just like mathematics for all those different age groups. So the government's move is one in the right direction, and it's way past time. It should have been, but we wait and see its implementation, because that's where the challenge is.
Implementation, and we'll get to talk about that. But tell me this, working with young minds and the parents are there, do they see sports as an enabling factor towards their child's development, or it's simply when it gets to when the grades are not doing too well, that's when you hear he's spending too much time playing football, maybe it's time to cut back this and focus more on education? Tell me about the perception out there when it comes to sports and nurturing it at a young age.
Yeah, it's good you say perception, because that's where the challenge is. It can't be even government. It's our mindset. For a long time, sports is an afterthought. Even for us, some of us landing in this industry as a career, it came after probably having our education degrees, and somehow it's not necessarily we started working on it from an early age. So the mindset will slowly have to be changed on the parents' perspective, the society, to embrace sports, not to have it as an education, not necessarily as a career at an early age, since it's a long road towards making sports a career. You can't just decide at a young age. So for parents, there it is.
Okay, you've definitely told them as it is. Let me cross over to Silas Otieno. You mentioned Zoezi Mtaani, Zoezi Shuleni. As you tell us more about this, I know Zoezi is usually focused on the physical well-being. Mental well-being is definitely a key concern as well. What does Zoezi Mtaani and Shuleni do?
The reason why we did Zoezi Mtaani and Zoezi Shuleni, we go to the unprivileged estates where people cannot afford to pay for the gyms, and so what have you. Because when you say Zumba or aerobics, people think of the rich. So we decided to be going to the estates. We do it for free. Then we talk to them about drugs and substance. That's how we started about Zoezi Mtaani. Zoezi Shuleni came about when we as trainers sat down, and then everybody was like, where does this thing start from? And then it was like we started it in the school, at the secondary level. That's where people started taking bang, drinking alcohol. So we want to start initiating and talking to them when they're still young, and let them know the importance of exercise as far as the society is concerned.
Well noted. Jackie, yes. Tell me your part of this. You mentioned your coach. What do you make of the renewed effort in terms of physical education and sports policy in schools?
Yeah, it has been long since sports was revived in schools. You see, this is where I can say where a career starts, in school. If we can combine school and Taani, because I come from a local team, a local club academy. So you see, if they initiate it in school and also we double it up with where these kids are coming from, then this will be a mileage. It will be a good start for their careers. Because you see only kids playing in the academies and not in school, and in schools where this is where most of these kids are being scouted, maybe for the national teams or the junior national teams. And it's a very important platform for young upcoming players. So I think they should start it up so quickly so that it can help these kids start their career, because it's a long due process.
How did your journey towards coaching actually begin? Was it developed while in school?
Yeah, my journey of coaching was developed both in school and the team where I started playing, which is Mombasa United, the women. So you see, they could offer scholarship for you to go to school, but by offering this scholarship, you have to play. You have to play for both the academy and also play in the school. So I can say this is where my journey started, both in school and both in the academy.
Okay, well noted. Now, Coach Kolo, let's talk about talent, because I'm sure some of the young minds you interact with are talented naturally. And I usually come across this quote, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard enough. So what's the importance of working with these young minds, inculcating the culture? Because you mentioned it also has a curriculum when it comes to football. You should follow a certain routine, quote unquote, to get to the peak of your performance. Talk to me about this.
Yeah, it's rightly said, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Yeah, but indeed, it's an environment for talent to probably work hard. it's the education that also comes in play. I'll speak for football because that's mostly where, but though the culture cuts across all the sports. For football, let's say we have benchmarked with Europe. The setups that are there are meant to ensure the mentality is right, probably particularly at teen level. That's where talent probably is faced with other situations that might hinder hard work. But primarily, the environment is very important. When you're having a challenge that your class teacher, probably your maths teacher, is claiming you're playing football, you're being in the school team, is the reason you're underperforming in maths, actually see that as a fallacy. Considering football has its complexities per se, in that when you're having issues like tactical aspects, you know, people even question issues why Guardiola doesn't sign Africans. It's because of the tactical issues. That's an education. You're having a session in class where you are being told, man, with depth, tactical periodization, today you do this, today you won't do this. That's not play. That's not being childish. That's something that is also scientific and academic. So we can't have a competition between classwork and sports per se. We must have an environment and know-how for that matter, because that's another challenge that we are going to have with the policy the government is partaking, since how many school teachers have the know-how, have the education, and with the issues where we are being not allowed to go into schools to offer probably coaching services. It's for academy setups, parents are coming to us, those that are willing to have kids take up sports to another level. But in schools, they'll need to embrace, they'll need to work probably with football federations to give an education, the sports education curriculum to the teachers, and help them also know how to teach, rather than not having also training kids in a bad way.
Okay. So it just doesn't need a mind shift from what I'm getting from Coach Kolo. Salas Otieno, we need to talk about issues like lack of facilities, including grounds, equipment, even as we talk of implementation of this particular policy. From where you sit, how exactly should this be implemented in order to achieve the desired effect, to impact these young lives in the best way possible, and perhaps push those who are sports-centered into the best forms of careers?
First, the government should make sure there are enough grounds for kids to play, because it starts with the government and then the community before it comes to schools. They all go together. If the parent doesn't support what the kid is doing or what the kid likes, the government, the politicians, they've grabbed all the public places where kids used to play, where us used to play when we were young. So they all go together. The parents, the guardians, they should support what the kids are doing. So there are not enough grounds. That's why Wakina Coach Kolo are coming in with the academies, because it's the same primary schools and the secondary school grounds is what they are using for the academies. So, and they pay for the grounds. Where does this money goes? Because the headmistress and the principals, they are not embracing sports in school. So it's the same grounds that are there from Monday to Friday that the sports academies are using on Saturday and Sunday. So I don't understand.
Okay, so that's some of the challenges. And Jackie, perhaps as you add your voice, because you're a seasoned player, you've coached Kakoro football and you're a former assistant coach at Harambee Starlets. Talk to me about what it takes to pursue an active career in the sports world, because many people might not talk about it.
Yeah, it takes a lot of resilience. It takes a lot of hard work. it's a rough, let me say it's a long journey that someone has to embrace if you decide to take it as a career. So I can say that having playing football, the transition needs you to at least to have also the knowledge of coaching. You cannot just only coach with the know-how of a football player. It requires more. So by this, I can say now that there are several courses being offered by the Football Kenya Federation, I can say it's a chance that people should take and go and do these courses, because even if you want to take it as a career without certificates, without this knowledge, you see, you cannot go anywhere. So I can say that you have to also let me say, you have to I'm looking for the word, like to invest. You have to invest in education, and coaching is one of the best career I can say. But you see, without papers, also you cannot go anywhere. Even if you are to start even with the minor kids, this is where the career, football career is starting, or any other basic sports. We have to have the knowledge on how to transit this kid from a junior to a senior athlete. So I can say it requires resilience. You have to invest. You have to take your time. You have to be committed in order to become to have it as a career.
Collins, I think I'll just forward the same question to you. What it takes to actually have an active career in the sports world?
Yeah, okay. It's as rightly said by Jackie. It's quite a journey, a sweet journey, but one you need some perseverance. You need some support, because the aspects where even in the game nowadays, initially probably we didn't embrace issues like the likes of Silas work here, having the gym involved, you see, because there's an area at teen you need to work on some levels of muscles, there's issues of nutrition. So the level of investment also needed to pursue a sports career. I know we are having challenges, particularly in the Kenyan setup, where people are wondering why are we not having enough players probably at the elite level of the game in the UK. Mm-hmm. It's the level of investment that is needed, the right education of training, as Jackie also rightly pointed out. Are your coaches at a younger level giving you the right education for you to get the right technique? Very important. Are you having the right mentality? When you're having a bad game, are you having probably a psychologist to help you? They say Lewis Hamilton has over 15 psychologists who just point out on his low moments so that they can pick out and help you, man. You're having a bad day today. You still need to train. You're having a good physical training. You are watching your diet. Ronaldo pointed just a few days ago about him having issues with his son taking up soda.
Yeah.
So it's important.
Okay. So that's definitely noted. Silas Utenu, perhaps your take on what it takes to actually have an active career in the sports world.
It starts when you're young.
Mm-hmm.
Like you see, the national team that we have right now, both boxing, volleyball, football, karate, all the disciplines, they started when they were young. You can't start sports career when you finished your Form 4. So it is very important you include it in the curriculum, and then it brings a lot of, you can identify leadership skills from the kids when they are young. Teamwork comes, they learn how to deal with each other when they are young. Discipline, it helps in relationship between them and the teachers, students and the parents. So the coaches, like Wakina Coach Kolo, they start scouting at the primary levels and then secondary levels. People like Wakinolunga, they were spotted in schools. Mariga, Oliech, somebody like Suleiman Bilali, boxer, Rayton Okwiri, they all started their career in school. So it's very important you let your kids play as much as education is very important, but so are sports and fitness.
And as you spoke, when you talked about education is important, many people sort of look at physical education, because it is education. They look at PE as more of entertainment. They will go out, play, run around, and then come back and continue with serious stuff. So there's that need of a mind change in order to put PE where it is in terms of the curriculum development. Talk to me about some of the gaps, Silas Otieno, that you might see when it comes to having PE in schools. Because as you mentioned, Zoezi Shuleni actually might deal with these young minds who are in school. What gaps need to be filled, from mind change to lack of sporting facilities? What do you look at?
You see, like Zoezi Shuleni, when you say Zoezi Shuleni, it brings both religion and gender together. There's no time, when you're doing aerobics or you're doing fitness, there's no way you'll say these are Indians or Christians or Muslims. It brings people together. It makes people happy. When you're happy in school, you forget about your parents at home when you're in boarding. So it will give you easy time to go to learn. And it will even give teachers easy time to understand the kids. So it is very important for us as trainers, how we started Zoezi Shuleni. That was the main key. It unites kids. It helps bring certain things that teachers cannot see at that time. Because sometimes understanding kids who are in school is not easy. You sleep, when you wake up in the morning, they've demonstrated, you don't know what has happened to them. So it brings the things that people don't understand, and it makes people understand their kids better.
Okay, yes. Well noted. Jackie, if you're still with us, I mean, evolving from playing to coaching will definitely take a lot. As you mentioned, personal sacrifice, but government support is also quite key in terms of the goodwill from the ministry, from the federation, from various institutions that are put in place to sort of facilitate your growth in the sports career. Talk to me about the government support so far. What do you think we should focus on? Is it adequate enough?
I can say it's not adequate enough. What I was thinking the government should do is that they should work hand in hand with these different federations, and then they can acquire empowered and trained coaches so that they can do this physical education in school. You see, with this, if a player gets a qualified maybe coach who is specialized maybe in coaching football or basketball or tennis, whichever sport, if they get a qualified coach, then this kid during this physical education, the coach does his work, nurtures this talent from schools. Then once the player transits after finishing high school or let me say high school, once the player transits from high school to getting a club, this player will be well polished, you see. And so the government should liaise with the federations and get trained coaches in different areas. That is one. Two, the facilities we have in schools. These are the same facilities academies are using. Like it was mentioned somewhere that like as a Kakoro, I can say we are using a school and it's an academy and we are paying. But you see, it's upon the academy to rehabilitate the field, to make it better for kids to play. So I'm imagining that we want to take maybe kids abroad. You see, the facilities you're using here in terms of the surface of the pitch, it's totally different from where these kids want to go and make a career, maybe in Europe. So I'm pleading with the government also to look at these structures that are in school so that one, they can make it, they can make the surfaces for it to be, for the players to play well, and also make it easy also for the academies and the teams, local teams who are using the pitches, because these are the same players who are playing for the local teams that are playing for the schools. So the government should take a look at that, the structures at the school, so that with this support from them, and also try to also give like equipments, not only to the schools, but to they should also support the federations in order to support the local teams, because all this comes from the government has the final say in this, in terms of football development, all this sports development, because I believe they can.
Exactly. And as we talk about, bringing youth to the sports potential, quote unquote, talk to me about how the world of sports is. Is there a gender divide in the sports fraternity from the school level into the career level, as well as coaching? How do you look at it?
I can say let me start with when it comes to coaching. I'll encourage more girls to come up and join the career of coaching, because we are very few, that I can say. And then we have also, as girls, as ladies, we have to step up, because you see most of the roles are being taken by men, because we don't have the courage enough to step up in these shoes. You see, I'm looking at a female coach coaching like KPL side team. I'm looking at a female coach coaching NSL, these competitive men leagues, because we have also men coaches coaching ladies teams. So that is one. I can challenge these girls, former football players, to come up and step up and take these roles. Then with the support of the federation, not that they're laying out courses, they're not like underlining that, no, we have like, we have to have like 50 men and maybe 10 ladies. No, there's no such thing. If the chances are open, like CAF C, CAF D, basic coaching courses, it's all, it's open for everyone. There's no gender inequality, let me say so. Then I can say also in the career wise, you see, we have to encourage like young girls, especially from the primary level, even if it's academy from the unders. Most of the academies, you see, they don't have like a balanced teams, like both boys and girls. I can say like a Kakoro, we have like 2 teams for the girls, and then 4 age categories for the boys. So we have to encourage these girls that, you see, football is can be played with both men and female, both girls and boys. You see, if they don't encourage them, then they'll sideline themselves and see like, this game is just for men or for boys. But if we encourage them, they'll see, okay, this is a thing for both. But if you don't sensitize on this, most of the young girls tend to shy off. That's why you get that. I can count on a number of academies with the only boys teams, or if they have maybe just one girls team, and it's not like that serious like with the boys team.
Okay, and speaking of academies, of course, I'll have to bring in Coach Kolo. How exactly do you balance in terms of, tilting the balance, not just the boys who are benefiting from physical activity, physical education, you also inculcate the girls to make sure they nurture their talents with so many options in the future?
Okay, as I continue what Jackie had pointed out, rightly so, about the girl child, regards the girls being involved in the game. We must really we must have a deliberate effort. Here at Cheza Sports, for instance, I've really worked through that struggle, and I've taken it up a deliberate effort to add on to the girls. Strangely, our biggest success story, our first player product who played for the national team is Amy Lasso, who's captain for national team, South Sudan national women's team. We might have thought we could hit more success with the boys, but it's the girls who are hitting fast. So I've even added opportunity to add more scholarships for girls to enroll in the academy. The balance, as you say, it's important, just as life. I usually challenge my students and probably parents. You as a parent, you are capable of going to work, probably in the evening, having evening classes of a master's degree or a PhD. You are still the same parent cooking. And you want to tell me you want your son or daughter not to take up sports. It means you are also inculcating a culture of not having some balance in life. The life-family balance is very important, just as like sports education balance is important and possible, since your physical state will also help you have probably good sleep, have a healthy life, and kind of have issues to do with, we are having challenges with people being depressed and kind of just societal issues. With sports being involved, those are life challenges that you tend to solve just indirectly. So the possibility of a sports education balance is very, very obvious. It's in fact possible, just that the environment is important. Just create the right enabling environment. Rightly, Silas had brought up an issue that probably should be handled in the near future in this process. He pointed out that schools, we are being charged for school fields. I can point out an instance where I went to a head teacher because of some of my students were insisting I go and coach them in school. So I went to the head teacher asking her to allow me access to the field, probably on weekends, that I'll be doing some pro bono work in terms of coaching them.
Okay.
But she told me this field is really booked up on Saturdays because of events which are probably weddings. And they pay more than probably what I was proposing. So I'm asking her, now this one will directly affect your students, being football, probably me training them at no cost. But you want to give precedence and give priority to weddings because you get more money. She told me, my goodness, I just have no option. That's how I make money to pay my support staff and something like that.
Okay.
So it's the life.
That's the reality on the ground. Thank you for bringing that up, because it is what it is, as they usually say. Silas Otieno, add your voice to this. Is women's sports overlooked? And not just in terms of sports, also physical wellness. How many times are ladies centered on actually achieving the best of their bodies in terms of being fit?
When we were growing up, they said football was for men, boxing was for men, basketball was unisex, rugby was for men, netball was for women, volleyball was unisex. But nowadays, even at the Olympic levels in the 80s and the 90s, more gold medals were being brought by men. So people considered sports as a man thing, but it's not that way. Because as you watch now, even in the Olympics, the last Olympics, the World Championships, more medals are being brought by women. It's like 50-50. So we should give priority to both men and women when it comes to sports and such activities. Even in the health club and the gyms around, both international and in Kenya here, most of my clients are women. Men, they have this ego that gym, the weights are for men, aerobics are for women, but it's not that way. You must have your body composition should be balanced, both lean mass, you come to water percentage, you come to fat percentage, they must be equal. So it is both men and women to work out, because it should be part of your lifestyle. Let me give you an example.
Okay.
You are saying a woman, sports is a man's thing. So when a doctor tells you that if you don't work out, your cholesterol level will not come down, you'll get non-communicable diseases. So, and you're a woman and you don't want to go to the gym, so what will happen? So it is very important to know that fitness should be part of your lifestyle. So it should start when you're young, you grow up with it, so that it is not like you're torturing yourself while you're coming to the gym, or you're working out, or you're leaving your kid to go to the academies to play, both football, boxing, basketball, rugby, athletics. Still, when you're growing up, we used to know that first term was for athletics, things like acrobatics, which I've never seen like for more than 10 years now in schools. People dwell in dramas and music festivals, which is good also, because that's where people know their career and talents, where they come from. So just leave your kid to do what he likes to do in school, from primary to secondary to high school. It might be his career or her career. You never know.
Yeah, you never know.
Yes.
Just nurture it.
Yes.
Okay, that's well noted. Jackie, we might be reaching the end of this discussion. As we perhaps start finalizing, talk to me about the potential of PE in education right now. Having gone through various levels in the sports fraternity, looking back, how exactly would you value physical education? Because as I mentioned, as we were starting this show, there might be teachers who might look down to PE as entertainment and might take an opportunity to grab that PE lesson and teach something that is centered on the exams they will be facing. Talk to me.
Should not be tasked to teachers. That's my opinion. Reason being, this is a very good opportunity to tap talents from the schools. It's a chance that we can use different coaches from different sports. That's why I was saying that the Ministry of Education should partner with the different federations from different sports, so that this opportunity should be given to coaches. Because I'm imagining a school teacher, and I've seen it before, standing just beside the pitch, and then the kids are out there jumping around, playing, I don't know, hide and seek. But there's no much that is being done, and this is an opportunity that we can use to nurture these talents in schools, and then transit these players to find their career paths. Because for me, I don't support this. You see, and most of the teachers now, what they will do is this PE lesson will be used to try and catch up the syllabus. I'm pretty sure it will not be used as identified that it's physical education and stuff. It will be used to catch up the syllabus or tuition as such stuff. That's why my thought is that these chances should be given to certified coaches who can use this chance properly to upbringing these talents and help players find their careers.
Okay, well noted, Jackie. Thanks for that input. Over to Coach Kolo. Perhaps the times are changing, as we mentioned, and there's a new curriculum, CBC, centered on, practical approaches, quote unquote. But talk to me about the advent, the importance of starting at an early age, especially with academies like the one you run. Because at times we see children as young as 3, 4. You mentioned you work between 4 to 23 years of age. As young as 4 years of age, who might be termed as obese, quote unquote. And the parent will look at, yes, the child is engaging in physical activity outside while playing with other kids, but centered approach in terms of working out, not just staying fit, but also achieving levels in sports education. How important is this?
Yeah, rightly so. We are having a new challenge as a society, where probably 5 in 10 kids are obese in Nairobi, probably. And for those that are probably in the slums, are malnutrition. Sports goes hand in hand with nutrition. So it's very important to realize you're doing sports as a kind of probably a necessity, and creating and having inculcating a culture of growth, of embracing sports, not because you are forced to, but just having it, normalizing it as a routine. For probably the younger ages, between probably 4 and 13, that's probably primary school level, the education has, as a sports as the education, has to inculcate fun, so that, because at that age, you're not making probably a star, a professional. You have to inculcate the fun bit of it, so that the kids embrace it. So they might be probably losing weight, but in a fun manner. You had pointed out that the CBC curriculum.
Yeah. And
in the CBC curriculum, it's probably practically centered there. I'm yet to see how sports has been involved in it, but working with students probably from probably international schools, I get to see where their parents tell me, Coach, you need to add on to a report about he or my son or daughter participating in sports, for which end up tallying in his grades eventually and helping him. In the later stages of the CBC, there'll be need to have a school of sports and physical, is it science? I'm really worried. Okay, it's probably an opportunity for those that are in this sports investment, but it's going also to be a challenge where a school will particularly take up, probably a secondary school level will be taking up to be a school of sports and physical education. That's some new expectation. We want to see how it will go.
Okay, implementation is key, as we mentioned. So let's see, even with this new policy, how exactly it will be implemented to actually benefit the students in public, private, and international schools as well. Silas Otieno, your final word to those who might be watching and not sold by the idea of physical education, quote unquote, is beneficial, even as I am hustling between 8 to 5 for the older generation and for the younger ones who are juggling between school and other curricular activities. How important is plugging into the physical aspect in order to be all round?
It is very important to work out on a day-to-day basis, just 30 to 40 minutes. Don't push yourself hard, because saying that you don't have time, that's an excuse that doesn't make sense to me. You have 24 hours. You just need 30 minutes of your time. You don't need to go to the gym. You can use the stairs, you can walk, you can skip, you can cycle, you can be jogging, you can be walking home instead of using a matatu. There are very many ways of working out, as long as you do something. Let me give you an example. You wake up in the morning, you take your breakfast. From your house to the car, it's like 100 meters. You drive, you stay in the jam for 2 hours. You go to the office. From your office to the lift is another 100 meters. You take a lift to 5th floor, 7th, 8th, or 12th floor. You go to the office, you sit, you work there the whole day. You are brought tea at 10, you are brought lunch at lunchtime, you are brought tea at 4. In the evening, you go to the social clubs. You stay there, you eat again while you are drinking with your friends. You go home late, you sleep less hours. So you've consumed more than 2,000 calories. You've burnt less than 100 calories. So you are keeping the deficit every day. In the next like 10 to 15 years, your lifestyle has changed. You've grown, your body composition has changed, your fat percentage has grown. You go to the doctor, he sends you to the gym. So you see it like a punishment to you, as far as you could have started it when you were young. Simple things, instead of using a lift, use stairs. Instead of staying in the gym for too long, you can go to the gym, you do something. So it is very important you put physical fitness and health lifestyle in your lifestyle. You put it as part of your lifestyle, because fitness is just 20%, nutrition is 80%.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'll try to use the stairs as I go back to the office this time round, practically applying what we're doing right here.
Yes.
Many thanks for your input, Silas.
Because you see,
right there.
you can think because the way you look, you're fit.
Yeah.
But when I do your body composition, you'll be shocked. When I do for your fitness assessment, and then I show you your body composition, you can be very shocked.
And do sports players, people who actively engage in sports, are they naturally fit? If I play football, does that mean my BMI is well composed?
Your BMI can say you are obese, but when I look at your body composition, it will tell me a different thing. Like in bodybuilding, you can find a short person is like, his BMI is saying he's obese. He's like 80 kgs because of his height and weight. The BMI will say he's obese. But when you look at his body composition, you'll find that his fat percentage is lower than yours. Because you are thin, your height, your BMI will say you're fine.
Yeah.
But when I look at your body composition, it will show me a different thing.
Well, that's interesting.
Yes.
So as small as I might be, I might have a higher cholesterol level as compared to you.
Yes, I can even take your blood pressure.
Okay.
The systolic is the blood that goes from the heart to the body. The diastolic is the blood that comes from the body to the heart.
Okay.
So when I do your blood pressure, and then I look at your results, and then there's a chart we look at. Your heart can be pumping like an 8-year-old.
Let's leave it at that. Anyway, over to Jackie.
I'm not scaring you.
Yeah, well, I am scared. But over to Jackie. I mean, that's the reality of the situation as it is. Jackie, I'll give you the final take as a lady in the panel. Perhaps since we've had an interesting discussion centered on how important it is to inculcate physical education at a young age, and we hope the implementation will be effective in order to impact the lives of these young gents and ladies positively. Your final take to this whole discussion in terms of the focus by the government and the mind shift, the mindset that is needed to actually achieve this from a beneficial perspective.
My final take to the government. One, first, before rolling out the physical education that they intend to do, they should look at the structures, the facility. They should try and level it so that it can be good enough for these activities to take place. And two is that this physical education, I'm insisting that it should be given to trained maybe coaches or instructors who can take these kids to the next level, or who can help these kids gain fitness in a more better way. That is my take.
Okay, thank you so much for your time. Jackie joining us by way of Zoom. She is the girls coach at Akoro Football and the former assistant coach Harambee Starlets. We appreciate your input right here, and of course keep flying the Kenyan flag high in your respective field. Also joined by Collins Olimba, who's the technical director at Cheza Sports Academy. We appreciate your input, and of course keep mentoring these young minds into the sports world. And joined by Silas Otieno, who's the CEO of Zoezi Mtaani and Zoezi Shuleni, as well as the health club manager at Hill Park Hotel. Thank you for your time. Allow us to take a short break. Enough about the latest in the world of sports. I'll definitely take the stairs once we're done with the show, but we're not done just yet. When we come back after the break, we'll shift focus to matters agriculture. For those of you who studied in the 80s and 90s, the 4K Club